Let's talk about some important things to know before you go to Manuel Antonio National Park. Over the next few minutes, we're going to see some monkeys, a sloth, an absurd amount of hermit crabs, and we're going to load you up with all the important information you need to have a successful experience through the park, including some potential scams you need to be looking out for. Welcome to the channel. My name's Rich, and as we embark on this journey together, I'm going to bring along with me my good buddy, Mr. Knowledge Nugget. Boop. So make sure you're giving that guy a warm welcome by dropping the brain emoji down in the comments. And remember that whenever he pops up on your screen, he's going to be bringing important info that you will definitely want to be making note of. So Manuel Antonio is a popular tourist destination located just over 100 miles from San Jose in the north central Pacific region of the province of Punta Arenas, and is currently bringing in almost 500,000 visitors per year, making it the most visited national park in Costa Rica. First, and most importantly, you're going to need to know how to get your tickets for admission, because without them, they're not going to let you in. They do not sell tickets at the park itself, so you will need to get them online ahead of time at manuelantoniopark.com, and I will leave a link to that site in the description below. Currently, they are limiting sales to 3,000 tickets per day, which I know that kind of sounds like a lot, but they do sell out fairly quickly, especially from December all the way into the summer months, so make sure you're getting yours well in advance because there's a good chance they'll be sold out if you don't. When you get to the front gate, you'll have to provide either your ticket barcode or your reservation number, and you will need to show your passport to enter as well. Ticket prices are currently around $18 for adults, $5 for kids ages 2 to 12, and it is free admission for kids under the age of 2. Each ticket is only valid for one day, and unfortunately, they're not offering any package options. So if you're visiting the park multiple days, then you will need to buy a separate ticket for each day. The park is open 6 days a week, Wednesday through Monday, closed every Tuesday, and they are actually open on all major holidays as long as they don't fall on a Tuesday. So Christmas, New Year's, not a problem, but Tuesday is the deal breaker for some reason. The hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and at around 3 o'clock, the park rangers will close down the beaches and start letting everybody know they need to wrap things up. At 3:30, everyone will start needing to make their way toward the exit to have the park cleared by 4. So if you are wanting to make a full day of it, then it's recommended that you get to the park as early as possible because at 3:30, everyone's cut off. Let's talk about whether or not you need to hire a tour guide. In a previous video about the cloud forest in Monteverde, we highly recommended splurging on a guided tour, and this was largely due to us wanting to see some regionally specific wildlife, particularly the resplendent quetzal, which can only be found in cloud forests of Central America.
I'm glad we did a guided tour because we wouldn't have known any of this stuff.
So since we had already scratched that one off our list, we thought we'd change it up and have a go at navigating our way through Manuel Antonio on our own, and for that we have no regrets. It also helped keeping some things in mind that we had learned on that guided tour, like stopping to scope out the holes in the sides of hills, staying away from crowds, and just taking our time, staying quiet, and keeping our eyes and ears toward the trees to observe any movement that might be happening nearby.
Just walk a few steps, listen for anything moving, and then look in that direction. You'll find monkeys, you'll find birds, you'll find anything that's out there. You just got to be looking for it. There's another monkey right here. I heard him messing around out there.
We had no problem seeing capuchin monkeys, a few howler monkeys, and thanks to some random guy that I talked to on a bathroom break who was part of a guided tour, we were able to see a sloth in a nearby tree that their tour guide pointed out to their group.
Follow this tree out. This tree right here.
This right here. It branches over to the right. You see him right here. Come this way.
Up top there.
Ah, there he is.
So that is a testament to the power of talking to strangers. Kids, don't talk to strangers. Adults, talk to strangers.
If this is your first park to visit while you're in the country and this is all brand new information to you, then hiring a tour guide might be your preferred option, but I really don't think it's necessary here. There's definitely some benefits to hiring a tour guide. They'll probably have a great personality with some charisma. They'll be super knowledgeable about the region, the flora and fauna, and all the wildlife within the park. They'll also have high definition scopes and binoculars, which you can not only use to view the wildlife in HD, but using the scopes, you can also get high definition pictures and videos using your smartphone. Another benefit is that they'll have rides arranged for pickup and drop off at your hotel, so you won't have to worry about messing around with parking or traffic if you don't want to. If you are wanting to go the tour guide route, then much like buying your tickets online ahead of time, I highly recommend booking your tour online as well.
On the website. Don't book it anywhere else. On the website.
Yeah, because you know it's going to be legit on the website.
If you haven't booked your tour online, then once you get inside the park, there will be a bunch of random tour guides approaching you, trying to sell you their services. This just felt really scammy to me, so I would suggest keeping your guard up around these guys and proceeding with caution. One guy that approached us looked pretty legit, but the logo on his shirt didn't have anything to do with Manuel Antonio, which this could have very well been a legitimate third-party tour guide, or it could have just been some random guy trying to make money off tourists.
I don't know if he was certified or not. We're just going to keep doing it on our own and see what we can see.
The red flag for me was when he approached us the first time. He said 25 bucks per person, so 75 for the three of us. We declined because we had already decided we were going to fly solo on this one. And then he came back around to us a few minutes later and he was like, well, I'll tell you what. And then he said he'd drop it to 20 a person, so 60 for the three of us. If he was legit, I don't think he would have come off his price that easy, and it just felt a little sketchy to me. Maybe I'm wrong. It was just a gut feeling, but I suggest keeping your guard up either way. Later on, when we were walking through the park, we saw another guy with the same logo on his shirt, and he didn't even have a scope or binoculars. He was with this small group of people, and he was just pointing at things like, hey, look at that. Oh, look, there's something over there. You don't need to pay someone for that. You can do that on your own.
Talk to people, listen, look, stop, be patient. You'll see more than you'd expect on your own if you're looking for it.
If you do book a tour online, then it's going to be somewhere around 60 to 70 bucks per adult. 50 to 60 per kid, but again, the ride's included, and that's the only way you're going to be 100% sure that it's legit. And if you don't book a tour, then just get used to saying no to everyone who approaches you.
It's just become more of a natural reaction now. Just, no gracias, no gracias. No thank you. Oh, no gracias. No thank you.
No, thank you.
You see.
While we are talking about potential scammers, let's discuss the parking situation. When I was writing this segment of the video and digging around online trying to get my facts straight, I compared what I found to the footage from our experience, and I think we might have been doing it wrong.
Why? Why did they make us go around everything? Why?
It did end up working out all right for us, so first, we're going to walk through how we got to where we parked, and then we'll go back and talk about what we probably should have done instead. So this is going to be the main road to the national park. When we got to this little fork right here, there were people blocking the street, waving us to pull in. So we rolled down the window to ask what's up, and they said that we needed to pay them to park here for the national park. These are scammers. Don't listen to them. This is actually still about a mile away from the entrance to the national park, and I'm pretty sure it's just parking for this public beach right here. Since we did feel a little leery about it, we just went ahead and kept on trucking all the way out the other end. And then once we saw signs for the national park, we flipped around this little loop-de-doop right here and pulled into this little parking lot. After that, we just followed signs on foot to the park, and it ended up being about a quarter of a mile walk, so not too bad. Now, let's rewind and talk about what we should have done instead. So we were going to have to pull into this little beach turnoff regardless because of the people blocking the road. So if they're doing the same thing when you're there, then just ignore them, keep pressing onward. Once you get back out on the main road, instead of going all the way down to the little turnaround like we did, keep an eye out and get ready to hang a left on Calle Parque Nacional. You're going to want to take that down about a quarter of a mile, and apparently these two parking lots are not only much closer to the entrance of the national park, but they're also the same price as that one that we parked at that was a quarter of a mile away. We were there at the end of June and we paid 3,000 colones, which is going to be somewhere around $6, but I did read that if you're there during the busy season, which is from December through April, that it could be more around 5,000 to 6,000 colones, which is somewhere around 10 to $12, give or take. Regardless of where you park, as with anywhere, make sure you're not leaving valuables out in plain sight because petty crime does happen, and most of the time, these are crimes of opportunity, so you want to make sure that you're doing your part to eliminate that opportunity any way you can. If you're still not sure on where to stay in Manuel Antonio and you're just looking for somewhere close to the park, then this Hotel San Bada might be worth looking into. It looked pretty sick from the outside, and it is right next door to the entrance of the national park. I do want to clarify that this is not where we stayed. We just saw it walking by. We stayed at a resort called Shannon by the Beach that's a short drive away, which was an amazing experience for us. And I will leave a link to our full video walkthrough of that resort at the end of this video. Real quick, I do want to mention that if you travel often and YouTube is one of the places where you come for helpful travel information, then that is what we're here to provide through this channel. It's me, my wife, and our now 13-year-old son getting into shenanigans all over the world and relaying back what we learned on our trips to help you be a little more informed when booking yours. We're currently putting together a trip to Portugal where we're planning on spending a couple of weeks hitting popular surf spots up and down the Portuguese coast. Might hop over to Spain for a few days, still yet to be determined, but either way, I'll have the camera rolling the whole time. It's gonna be a blast, and we would love for you to subscribe to our channel and come along with us for the ride. All right, let's talk about some other forms of transportation if you're not wanting to drive or book a guided tour. The buses that take you to the national park will all initiate at the Capos bus station, which will come up on your GPS as Terminal de Buses Capos, and they run about every half hour or so from 5:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Bus fare for a one-way ticket is 410 colones, which comes out to less than $1 at the current exchange rate, so just call it around $2 for the round trip. Most hotels and resorts in between the bus station and the national park will have bus stops within walking distance, so you won't have to board at the bus station unless, of course, you're staying too far off the bus route. The buses will not take you all the way up to the entrance of the park. They'll actually be dropping you off over at that roundabout close to the beach right by the parking lot where we parked. Again, about a quarter of a mile walk, so not too bad at all. Just follow the signs to the park and you can't get lost. Once you get inside the park, there will be 11 different hiking trails to choose from.
Okay, which way do we want to go?
Shoot, I don't know. I don't even know where we're at. Oh, here we are. Okay. So let's take off walking. Let's go on an adventure.
We just picked a direction and started walking, and it turns out that we were on the Universal Trail, also called El Manglar or the Mangrove Trail. This trail is a well-built raised platform that is about 3/4 of a mile long. It is not strenuous at all and is even wheelchair accessible. There will be informative plaques every 50 yards or so with little write-ups about the regional flora and fauna and what wildlife you might come across along the way.
Oh, these are heliconia. Are these the rattlesnake plants that we learned about?
Coming to a crossroads here. So if we go this way, we got a coffee shop and souvenirs. We go this way, we got the sloth trail. Definitely going down the sloth trail.
They did have that path closed off for maintenance while we were there, so we just kept on trucking and followed signs toward the Universal Trail.
These vines,
Monkeys are awfully...
prime for the swinging. Those are like full-blown trees.
Monkeys use these vines to climb the trees.
I bet they do. Those look like good climbing vines.
This little break off here connects to the main trail, which is also what park employees use for vehicle access, but perfectly fine to walk on as well. There's another break off toward the sloths trail here, so let's head down that way and go hunt for some sloths. Now, this is where we finally started seeing some action.
There's something moving around out there. I hear something moving around out there.
The monkey.
So we got monkeys. Oh, yeah.
Like, what are y'all looking at? There he goes.
Yeah, so this guy just came down, grabbed a piece of fruit, and took off.
It's like they put on a show for us.
This one's sneaking up behind him. So, what you got? What you got over there? So think about if that was your daily grind. You just get up and swing from the vines and find fruit day in, day out.
Do you live like that?
I would love to live like that.
And then there's tours that are just watching you.
There he goes. He's off. All right, we got some monkeys, and that was without a guide. So you don't necessarily need a guide. There's some more. There's another monkey right there.
Yep, there he is.
We're gonna keep on trucking, see what else we can find.
Just to reiterate, and I can't stress this enough, all you have to do is just walk slowly and pay attention to what's making the sounds around you, and you are gonna see some cool wildlife. Every sound that you hear is some kind of a living being that you're more than likely not gonna be able to see back home. You are thousands of miles from home in one of the most biodiverse regions of the world. Don't waste it, because it is super cool if you're taking the time to make the most out of it.
So it looks like we're coming up on some action. Let's see what we got up here.
Coming to the end of this trail here, over to the left, you'll have the coffee and gift shop, and toward the right, you'll have the bathrooms.
And since we had to chug all our water before coming into the park, guess what we gotta do? We're gonna take a little baño break here.
Come here, buddy.
So, breaking off to the right past the bathrooms here, this trail will take you down to Playa Espadilla, aka the beach. Along this trail, we noticed all these little holes in the side of this hill here, so we stopped for a minute to check them out and see if there was any movement going on.
Yeah. Oh, there, babe. Look at his face. Look at his little face.
Just look. Just be observant. You'll see all kinds of cool stuff.
Not sure who needs to hear this, But make sure that you are not sticking your fingers in there, because each one of these holes is a habitat to some kind of a living creature. Up in the cloud forest back in Monteverde, there was tarantulas living in there. Here, all we saw were crabs, but whatever's in there probably doesn't want to be bothered by your little phalanges wiggling around in their face. So, for safety's sake, just observe with your eyes and not with your hands.
So we are definitely getting close to the beach. So we're going to keep on trucking down here, and we are at the beach.
There are multiple beaches within the park, but the only one we visited was Playa Espadilla, and I have to say, I was pretty impressed. The views were gorgeous, the water was a beautiful turquoise, and there was quite a few people there, but it wasn't overcrowded by any means.
Beaches here are beautiful, beautiful. You got the mountains, you got the jungle, you got the beach, you got everything. We're just gonna take a walk down the beach and see what we come across.
Toward the end of the beach over here by these big rocks, I was just kind of standing there for a minute and looking around and taking it all in, and I looked down and noticed a little hermit crab, and then I saw another one, and then a few more, and after a few seconds I noticed that we were apparently standing in the middle of the New York City of hermit crabs.
There's probably literally about 1,000 hermit crabs right here.
I don't know what these guys were up to, but there was a lot of them and they were active.
That is like something straight out of a nightmare right there. Without question, the most hermit crabs I've ever seen in one place. These little closed-toed sandals that we have, we got them for the whole family. They're pretty great. Yeah, all the hikes we've been doing, we've been wearing these things, and they are great for functionality. They've got the closed toe so you can kick rocks and not stub your toe or, you know, rip your toenail off or whatever. Keen is the brand. I'll leave a link down in the description. But yeah, these things have been awesome.
At the top of the hill, just to the right of the sloth trail where we came in, this will be that main trail that I was talking about that's also used for vehicle access. This is the trail that we took back down toward the entrance, and about halfway down, we stopped to see if we could find anything up in the trees, and we did end up seeing and hearing a few howler monkeys.
Those are definitely howler monkeys. You hear them, buddy? We're not going to be able to see them. They sound like they're a mile away, but they're in there.
I don't know if you've ever heard a howler monkey before, but if you're not familiar with them, they sound like they are possessed by the devil himself. I'm not sure if that's their mating call or if it's just how they communicate with each other, but if you hear this sound, don't worry, it's not the devil, it's not a jungle monster, it is just a howler monkey out there doing his thing. Let's talk about some options on where to stay close to the park. If you want to stay within walking distance, then again, this Hotel Sambata was right next door. It did look pretty rad. I have not read any reviews or talked to anyone who stayed there, but I'd say it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't decided on where to stay yet. We did see a few hostels that were close by if you're wanting to go a more budget-friendly route. I talked to a few backpackers while we were in the country, and they were saying that some of the hostels they stayed at were around 15 to 20 bucks a night, but they're also going to be more community style where you'll be sharing a bathroom and probably sharing a room with another backpacker. All things to keep in mind when you're deciding on what kind of trip you want to plan. The Shanna by the beach, where we stayed, was only about a 10-minute drive up the road, and it was our favorite place to stay the whole time we were in Costa Rica. It was luxurious, it was affordable, it had beautiful views of the Pacific coast. We ended up getting up close and personal with some monkeys pretty much as soon as we got there. Just an all-around incredible experience for us. If you want to get a more thorough look of the Shanna, then I put together this video that's a full walkthrough of the property where you can have a look at the amenities, the room we stayed in, everything helpful that I could think of to put in there. So be sure to check that out, and I will see you there.